Uh, Marco, I would like to explain that there is a lot of similarity between FlexG and AIWAT. We both want to improve English proficiency in Brazil and other countries, and we both have fluency flow type of testing. But our purpose of this meeting today is to determine the differences and if it would be worth to implement those differences or to create a joint venture. Before I start my presentation, I have to make one disclaimer. I do not sell anything. Everything what you will see here, I offer for free, which includes licensing to my 2 patents, licensing to my intellectual property, which includes 2 ebook, 100 articles, 500 applications, etc. And I also offer free technical support if we start doing something together. So you have everything to win, nothing to lose, and nothing to invent into. You only invent in the future, which I will try to demonstrate to you is a little bit better if you will select this route to English fluency. So AI Web Application Tutor, acronym AIWAT, and I will use this acronym in this presentation, is used for learning any foreign language. Keep in mind that this statement is very radical because there is no other application which allow to learn any foreign language. If you will mention that Duolingo does it, it's wrong because Duolingo, when you use it for learning any foreign language, each time it's a different program. Each time it's a separate part. In this case, AIWAT comes, listen, with 0 lessons and unlimited possibility of creating lessons. And more than that, you can use AIWAT even for vocational training. AIWAT synergy is ensured by 3 inventions: generative AI, subconscious training, and guided self-learning. The first one, generative AI, is similar what you use. However, what you don't have is subconscious training. If, by the way, a quick question, FlexG, does it use conscious learning or subconscious learning? What do you think? Yes, it is conscious learning, and that's why it is not as effective as it could be. Because subconscious training is a quite different story, and we'll go into details in this presentation. 2 billion people learn English. AIWAT allows to learn a second language by the mechanism used in acquisition of the first language. This may be not quite clear to you, and you would not understand without explanation. What means is the same mechanism as used for first language. All children acquire native language subconsciously. And adults, that mistake was done 200 years ago, decided that language is a topic like any other topic in school and it could be learned consciously. It's a huge mistake. We cannot learn language consciously because consciously it means memorization. Our memory has the best property is forgetting. We forget everything very quickly, and it was known for more than 100 years. It was measured, the numbers are known. We forget 75% in 2 or 3 days. Tomorrow, if you will try to remember and just retell the story which I gave you today, you will have very little in your memory. Memory cannot remember it. Memory is for a different purpose. And that's why conscious learning is not optimal solution. Learners create personalized lessons using AI and apply subconscious training and guided self-learning. You see here the word personalized. And you also use this word personalized lesson, and you talk a lot about it, but there are two types of personalized lessons. Unfortunately, most personalized lessons used today are wrong, are inefficient. Here is the explanation. There are two types of personalized lessons. One is created by AI, that's what you use, and offered to learners for conscious learning and memorizing. That's why this personalized lesson wouldn't work, because we cannot memorize. The second type of personalized lesson is created by learners using AI for guided self-learning, consciously or subconsciously. It's a different type of personalized learning. When we talk, and there are millions of articles on personalized learning, and everybody talks about it, but it's inefficient, because personalized lessons created by AI are always given as instruction. When you give instruction, you are supposed to remember it, and we cannot remember it. And I will show you an example of personalized lessons which I have created for this demonstration. And there are an unlimited number of such lessons which you create, more than that. Because you can create your personalized lessons, you can even use it if you are not a beginner but intermediate learner, and you want to use the AIWAT program to do vocational training, to become a medical nurse or to become a programmer. You can create respective lessons in those new professions and apply subconscious training. I didn't tell you yet what is subconscious training, just in a minute. Learners rewire the known symbols of the language of thoughts to unknown words of a foreign language. That's what we do in AIWAT. And that is a new definition of learning a language. We, irrespective of how many languages we speak fluently, we think in one language. That language is called language of thoughts. It has a scientific name, mentalese, and it was described by Steven Pinker, a professor from MIT, in his book, Language Instinct. And it means that we all think in the same language, which consists of symbols, feelings. When you dream, you have no words. Even when in your dream you try to use a word like crying for help and everything, you will wake up because in the dream you use exclusively the language of thoughts. That is the most pure form of language of thoughts. So what means new definition? Now I will explain it, what that means. Because language of thought we already have. It consists of symbols which we have acquired during our experience. Those symbols are currently wired together with the words of native language. And that's why it creates illusion that you think in Portuguese or in any other language, because the wiring to the native language is done automatically, and that most people think that they think in the native language. It's not possible. It's not possible on another reason. Thinking is a continuous process. It's not a discrete one. And continuous process needs its own language of thoughts. They are flowing, changing feeling to feeling, a symbol to symbol, image to image. And so a new definition changes the whole language industry. Because what we do now, we try to remember words of a new language as translations from our native language. It will not work. It doesn't work. That's why we have a situation which we have. Brazil, the country number 7 in the world by population, has a proficiency, I believe, of 82. It's a very low proficiency. And AIWAT eliminates 2 barriers. Forgetting, because it doesn't use memorization, and thinking in the native language. No other system in the world can eliminate the most important barrier to language fluency, forgetting. Why it does, you will see in my next slide. The self-learning with AIWAT helps in formation of the new language speech center in the brain. AIWAT creates an environment for subconscious training by creating environment for reading, listening, and speaking simultaneously. And that is the difference. Our brain has 2 systems. More exactly to say is our mind has 2 systems, conscious and subconscious. We also know that we use conscious about 5% of our daily activity, and 95% we use subconscious mind, because it's 500,000 times processing information faster, because it has unlimited capacity for sharing, for performing different actions at the same time. Our brain can do only 1 or 2 actions at the same time. So that is a discovery which I have patented first in 2002 and the second patent in 2017. I discovered it by pure chance because I was working. I have a few professions. One of them is simultaneous interpreter. And when I was working as a simultaneous interpreter, I realized that if we perform 3 actions at the same time, I cannot think in the native language. So thinking in the native language is turned off automatically If I cannot think in the native language, then I don't need cross-translation. Then recall our new definition of language learning. It's wiring words as a new labels to already known symbols. It's much simpler. You should not memorize anything. You cannot memorize anything. Subconscious has a lot of different features. One of them, that you do not forget anything. Subconscious record everything. You don't confuse two things. You do not have conscious access to subconscious, but whatever is done by subconscious is recorded and is used automatically. For example, we drive the car. First, we start learning it and we do it consciously. But when we acquire enough experience, we transfer it to subconscious and do it automatically. We do automatically sports subconsciously. We do automatically play music, Tai Chi, martial arts, etc., etc., etc. So a lot we do subconsciously. Unfortunately, we don't learn languages subconsciously. I will explain you why. Actually, the first attempt to, not attempt, but offer to learn it subconsciously was done by Stephen Krashen 50 years ago. And he's the most famous linguist, I think, in the world. And in his comprehensible input theory 50 years ago, he said, you cannot learn a language. You have to acquire it subconsciously. It did not become a massive method because we did not have enough technology. At that time, it was not possible. And more than that, Stephen Krashen did not give the definition of subconscious, and he did not know how to activate it. Performing 3 actions at the same time is the only patented method of activating subconscious. Many language companies write articles today saying that AI changes the way how we will learn languages, blah, blah, and they say that it's a new era, and all those articles are inaccurate. Applying artificial intelligence to the obsolete pedagogy of conscious learning will not improve results. You cannot apply the latest technology of artificial intelligence without changing the pedagogy. The results will be the same. You will improve maybe a little bit compared to conscious learning. But if you will compare it with subconscious training, there's no comparison. Why? Because to apply artificial intelligence, first, you have to create personalized lessons. And then you have to use subconscious training, and you have to use guided self-learning. By the way, self-learning is a new revolution. And if you will pay attention, by the way, a book on guided self-learning it will be published by famous author Dr. Was. Her previous book, Learning Revolution, was sold 10 million copies. and she prepared the second edition of this book. It's a new book. It's called The Self-Learning Revolution 2.0. And what is interesting, I was invited, and I have written a chapter there on AIWAT. The book will contain a chapter on AIWAT. Self-learning revolution is a new revolution because before the main objective of teacher was to transfer knowledge, because teacher was the only source of knowledge, right? But now knowledge is available to anybody, free. It's on internet. And if you have noticed, huge companies, large companies nowadays do not ask for diplomas. They ask for your skills, and they check your skills, not your knowledge. Because your knowledge now is not relative. Knowledge is free. Why should we remember anything? What is not open or is skills which are changing gradually, dramatically, exponentially, and so the learner should change their skill levels gradually. AIWAT is done to accomplish this task. It does it by applying 6 drills to personalized lessons. Drill 1. Listen to the recording in the native language with your eyes closed. This drill actually is used only for beginners, because for them to start listening or recording, do anything in English would be difficult. They have to make the lesson on which they will work first comprehensible, understandable. So first we create the lesson in the native language, and you just listen to the recording with your eyes closed. Because when you close your eyes, 60% of brain power is freed, and it is used for visualization. So every word becomes a visual. It's like you not simply listen, you watch a video in your mind. You prepare your consciousness to grasp the meaning of text, which will be in all other 5 drills will be given in English. Listen to the recording in the target language and follow the text without pronouncing the words. And each drill is done a few times, sometimes many times, if you have selected a lesson which is of higher level than you are at now, then you have to listen to it a few times. Drill 3. Highlight the sentence with an unknown word and translate it into the native language. So you listen to the recording, you watched it, now you highlight and translate whatever word you don't know, and the translation, why I stress that you have highlighted the whole sentence. If you translate just a word which you don't know, and you will get a lot of meanings, because every word has many translations, many meanings. Can you remember them? Absolutely not. It's useless. When you highlight the sentence and you see translation of the sentence, it becomes contextual translation, It creates one image which you do not remember, but you just absorb as a new information. You absorb it as a new information and add it to your language of thoughts as a symbol. Drill 4. Read the text, listen to the reading software, and speak simultaneously. Now you understand that drill 4 is the basic, the primary drill of AIWAT and of the whole system, because it automatically activates your subconscious and automatically eliminates forgetting and cross-translation. Now, here is one thing. It may sound strange to you. Teachers cannot teach subconscious training. Teacher cannot do environment in which you will have the text, you will be able to listen to reading and speak simultaneously. It does not mean that we don't need a teacher. It only means where the teacher have to learn this method, understand it, and become coaches. Without a coach, don't call them teacher. They don't teach you anything. They guide you in your self-learning because you cannot learn language consciously. You cannot transfer knowledge from teacher to students. It's not possible. So don't be afraid. And I see and I saw excellent reviews of many teachers of your system. That is right, absolutely right. I don't say that your system is wrong. What I say, among the existing systems of conscious learning, unfortunately 100% of them conscious learning, your system is the best. However, it can be dramatically improved without changing dramatically your business model. The only thing required is to understand the new approach and to implement it. And to implement it is very easy because everything is done. AIWAT is a prototype. What means prototype? It means that all actions which I explained now could be done by teachers now. And if you learn it, and I offer free relearning and free technical support, you can start guiding your current students into this system tomorrow. Because relearning is not very difficult. I can do it in a few Zoom sessions. But it requires understanding of the new approach. So drill 5. Click the record button and read aloud the text without listening to the reader. You record a button, and when you have done recording, you can listen to it. And if you like it, you can share it with your friends or teacher. And what is also very important, if you have a teacher and he works with you, to learn a language according to the current norms, you need 1,000 lessons. You say on your website that you have 31,000 drills. Excuse me, in my system it sounds obsolete because we don't need thousands of drills to go through them and try to memorize. It's not possible. We already know it. What we need is to allow your subconscious to form a new language speech center in the brain when symbols of your language of thoughts are wired directly. And it is done in drill 4. When you read, listen, and speak, it is this wiring done automatically. So when you do a certain number of lessons, by the way, much less than in conventional methods, your brain, subconscious brain, acquires the ability to speak automatically because it forms subconscious speech center in the brain, which whenever you have a thought, it will produce required language patterns. It would not recall words. We do not recall words. We do not structure sentences or analyze its structure. You understand it? Drill 6. Develop fluency and measure it quantitatively by flow speech fluency testing. Here we come to your second child, Fluency Flow. I have a similar thing. And by the way, do you know how I have discovered you? I use, yes, I discovered you. Actually, I was very surprised. I use extensively artificial intelligence. And as, by the way, AIWAT has a great advantage because when AI API is built into application, you can use it not only for learning, but also for research. So I made a research, which applications do you know which use flow speech fluency testing? And it has found all my works, all my YouTube videos, articles, posts, and it has found you because it was looking for flow speech fluency testing. But you, Fluency Flow, has those two words in it. So artificial intelligence had opened you to me. And when I checked it, I was very surprised because nobody does it in this way. However, as you now understand, there is a big difference between FlexG and AIWAT. There is a huge difference between Fluency Flow and flow speech fluency testing. I will explain details later by demonstrating it. Here, how it works. On the screen, a word appears randomly selected from the dictionary of 3,000 most widely used colloquial English words. The purpose of a learner is not to translate or explain me, but start speaking by creating anything, recreating, by vocalizing your experience, which was ignited by these words. For example, giving. I love giving because giving always gives me a feeling of pleasure. When you can help people, that creates immense positive energy. So giving, and those people who are capable or love giving, they are most successful, they are most healthy people, etc., 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 blah, blah, blah. It doesn't matter what you say. What matters is that you start from your experience, explain anything what comes to your mind, to your vision, without thinking. You understand that again, this is subconscious testing. Now I will explain you the difference. In Fluency Flow, you ask me to talk about something, for example, a book. I have to remember which book I read. Then I have to remember my feelings, which happened a long time ago when I was reading the books. Then I have to look into those feelings, feel them again, and try to vocalize them. Your flow speech is measuring two skills: ability to think and ability to speak. This approach, my version of fluency testing, excludes it. There is another dramatic difference. Because you ask me to talk about something like a book, for example, your system is not cheat free, sorry. Your system is not cheat free because I can write down all my thoughts slowly and carefully in writing. And next time when I do fluency flow testing, instead of talking, I will be reading the text. So I can easily cheat and do not wait for long. Most students will teach. My system is cheat free. Why? Because each time a random word appears on the screen, and you have to start speaking as soon as possible and speak a few sentences, 2, 3, 4, doesn't matter. And then I apply your algorithm and use it for measuring fluency, but I improve your algorithm by adding there another module, which is called Create Voice Label, which is unique. And there are a lot of programs on internet which use your voice instead of password, right? So in this case, when you do flow speech fluency testing, you not only develop fluency. First, when your students will see the word giving, it would be difficult for them, but you are a coach. You show them how to do it. And first, there's also an option. You can use not only the dictionary of 3,000 words. You can use words from your lesson or from AI chatbot. Put your text or chatbot conversation. It will automatically create a dictionary and automatically will put randomly a word onto display. So you will check your ability of consciously acquiring language patterns from the given lesson or a given chat. When you develop this ability to speak automatically, it is the transition from conscious learning to subconscious training. It's a different version of it. because you have to talk quickly. And by the way, your subconscious reacts because subconscious always reacts to anything what is around you. It will immediately give you in subconscious those instances when you encounter this word and you start speaking. Fluency determines intelligibility. AIWAT helps learners improve their fluency from 30 words per minute for beginners to 150 words per minute for intermediate learners. High fluency scores of about 150 words per minute are required to speak automatically and pass English proficiency tests. This increase, 500% increase in fluency, is possible only by training subconscious mind. You cannot do it consciously. We do not use personalized lessons created by AI. We create our own lessons. I mean either the student or a teacher. A student or a teacher can create their own lessons. Here's an example query. Write an uplifting poem in 400 words for a beginner English learner. Apply 6 drills to the personalized lessons described on previous slides. Learners create unlimited lessons in English or any other language, Portuguese, for example. You can use the AIWAT to learn Portuguese also, and use support in any native language. I will show that this read aloud function is available now to any teacher or student. And to invoke this function, you get an option of using AIWAT for learning any foreign language. I will demonstrate in a minute on one lesson. Invest in AIWAT. As I mentioned here, invest in AIWAT, what I mean is not to invest now. I mean to grasp the value, the potential of the new approach. It is a revolution. Application will help billions of foreign language learners to become fluent in about a year. By the way, what is the 5th or 6th version of my system? And we have thousands and thousands of immigrants, especially the first huge waves of Russian immigrants. They used the systems and they were happy. They changed their lives. The success stories are tremendous. By the way, I have 8 patents in the United States in various topics, including computer security. Some of them I sold and invested the money into creating this system. To show you an example of a lesson which I created in preparation to this presentation. Here how it works. Those are the signs that read aloud function is turned on. What is remarkable is if you click on this sound, you see here that you have a selection of voice, male or woman, and you have reading speed selection. Reading speed is extremely important characteristics. And if you know the word special English must be used for beginners, and is recommended for intermediate learners because when you speak naturally, they do not have enough time to process that information which is new to them. So special English was invented 70 years ago by American Voice of America Broadcasting Company, and one time they were their director who invented it. He was nominated for Nobel Prize because this invention, special English, helped billions of learners around the world to learn it faster, even with conscious learning. I have learned it through special English. You understand, as you, I am not a native speaker. I came to America 36 years ago from Russia, and I was working as simultaneous interpreter in Russia and then in the United States because I have that ability of subconscious training built in me. And when I discovered it, I started researching it, working and writing about it, I have discovered all those little details. So here's the query. Write a 400-word bedside story for a 7-year-old child based on the novel of a Portuguese Nobel laureate in literature. When I click the play, I hope you will hear it.
Query, write a 400-word bedside story for a 7-year-old child based on the novel of a Portuguese Nobel laureate in literature. Here is a story based on the works of José Saramago, the only Nobel laureate in literature from Portugal. Once upon a time, in a small village in Portugal, there lived a kind and wise man named José. José was not an ordinary man. He had a magical power. He could create worlds with his words.
Stop it. You have heard the sound, right? Now, do you unmute?
Yes, I did.
Marco, you understand and you remember 6 drills.
Yeah, first one, close the eyes.
Yes, for example, what will happen if I will put this text?
Consulta. Escreva uma história de cabeceira de 400 palavras para uma criança de 7 anos com base no romance de um português ganhador do Prêmio Nobel de Literatura. Aqui está uma história baseada nas obras de José Saramago, o único Nobel de Literatura de Portugal.
Close your eyes
Era uma
now.
vez, numa pequena aldeia de Portugal, um homem bondoso e sábio chamado José. José não era um homem comum. Ele tinha um poder mágico. Ele podia criar mundos com suas palavras.
Okay, I stop it to save time, and now you understand that how it works. So the first lesson you have seen now, you close your eyes, you listen to the text in your native language. Now I will demonstrate to you on that if you don't know a word, if you don't know the word scary, here you have translation. You can translate a whole part sentence or paragraph or the whole lesson. Now, The most important is drill 4, reading the text, listen to the recording, and speak at the same time. And now I will show you how I am doing it, and then maybe you will try for a minute.
One day,
One
a little
day,
girl
a little girl named Anna came to Jose. Jose,
she
she said,
I'm
I'm
bored.
bored.
Can you tell me a story?
Jose smiled and agreed. He took his magical pen and began to write.
As
As
Jose
Jose wrote, his words came to life. He told a story about a city where everyone suddenly went blind. It was a scary situation, but the people in the city learned to help each other and find their way into the darkness. You understand that here is nothing to explain, nothing to remember. You are doing this as if you are playing piano. If you are driving a car, you do it subconsciously. And to create such an application together with using your existing experience and your magnificent algorithm for fluency flow would require practically no big investment. Practically at the beginning, no investment at all. Subconscious, what it does, when you do it a few times on the same lesson, and it's not boring because you use 3 actions at the same time, so you are surprised that you can speak English now because you are speaking without knowing the language. So it cannot be boring. And when you do it multiple times, your subconscious finds language patterns, remembers them, not remembers how to say, records them, so that next time you can use them automatically without thinking. There's no recall, no words remembered. Marco, yes. However, I would like to add one explanation here. Drill 1 is used for beginner learners who only started or who cannot speak English. For them, they have to create the video in their mind to which they will apply the developing skill of speaking later. But if you are an intermediate student and you are preparing for just standardized English tests, you can start with drill number 2. It's not necessary to always start with drill 1. It's only for beginner learners. And that is, again, ingenuity of this approach. Every element have been worked on for 30 years. So don't try to improve it. Just invent everything what is already known. For example, prepare to English test. You know that you have to have fluency of 150 words per minute. And now you understand that consciously you cannot achieve it. Now you understand a funny fact. Brazil, after United States, is #1 country in the world on the number of Duolingo users. It's funny because necessity for English in Brazil is extremely high. Everybody wants to learn English. Everybody wants to speak English, and it means so much for professional development, for anything. And that's why they all jump for the best known application in the world. It has 340 million users. The greatest number of users in the world after United States is Brazil. Did it help? No, it didn't help, but now you can explain why. Before you couldn't, now you can explain why. Duolingo uses not simply conscious learning, it uses the worst version of it. It uses translation. Native language, target language is the worst version which is available. What I want to stress is that it is possible to start with minimal viable product. The minimal viable product, if we create together by marrying your fluency flow with my flow speech fluency testing and create MVP with my scientific foundation and your algorithm, will create something which we could offer to 2 billion learners and they will jump on it. Is there any way that it will fail? No way. No way, because it's logic, it's reasonable, it's used, and because we know that by developing fluency and measuring it, we start subconscious training. To create MVP together, honestly, we can do it in 1 month. It's very simple because everything is here. You saw it, how it is done and how it could be done. And we can do it easily without practically any without any investment. Just a little time of your programmers. After checking the market reaction, maybe it's worth even to give it for free. And you will understand that we'll immediately create something which is like Duolingo, but much better, because it works. And then our next MVP would be the first version of AIWAT, AI Web Application Tutor, which uses subconscious training and guided self-learning. Then it will be the new Duolingo, and it will have the same success as Duolingo because it is, without any doubt, a workable model. It is done according to our knowledge. The greatest difficulty, and we know it, teachers and educators don't want to change. Yes, in theory they want to change, but they don't want to change. And they have a very powerful tool which is called ego. And their ego doesn't allow them to do that. We know all that. And because as a scientist, I work, and I would say I have many professions even, and I work in many fields. There's Greg Sattel, an expert in how to change. And if you follow him, he explains what we need to do to implement change. To implement change, we do not persuasion. I have persuaded you because you are prepared. You are open-minded. You are looking for something better than you have because inside you always have a feeling that something could be done better. So I have persuaded you, and I hope successfully. But we cannot persuade 2 billion students and teachers. What we can do to offer them something, just take it. It's free. Try it and see on your own how your ability to speak without knowing language first starts and how it develops and where you will be in a year now and what you can do with AIWAT. Learning English, learning any foreign language, doing vocational training, doing research. What else? Who else can offer you all those options? Honestly, now you understand me. I was a bit sad when you told me that only you would be here. I understand that you are a partner, but what I do not understand that Philip didn't come to this presentation. I am recording it, and he will watch it there, I hope, and he will understand and jump on it. However, I must tell that I was a bit disappointing because even looking at my articles, at my posts and everything, you should have a feeling it's a completely different approach. Say that article where I have explained why English proficiency in Brazil is so low. I've explained it. And now I have demonstrated to you how to improve it.